Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Engines roar, the night ignites, rubber burns under neon lights, chrome shining, stars align, dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow, pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke, lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the room. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels, heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds, grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal, victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms, the checkered flag, it seals the
Woo! Oh, ladies and gentlemen, Boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready here this evening for our penultimate race of the season. Our penultimate race here tonight as drivers get ready to rock and roll. Drivers looking for victory lane, and for 6 drivers looking to try and punch their ticket into our championship race in a couple weeks' time. As tonight, man, this is going to be fun. This is going to be a absolute dogfight here, and for a lot of these drivers, it's going to come down to this last race, to this last opportunity to try and work themselves into our championship 4 in just a week's time. So this is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be really, really interesting to see. As let's take a look here at our point standings coming into this race. So 6 drivers left here in this championship battle, and only 4 will advance into the championship 4 after tonight. So Josh Crider, he's sitting pretty right now. He's feeling pretty confident with that 4,057 points. He's got the lead here out of all these drivers for the points lead, but that can always change. You can jump up and down in a quick hurry. Underwood right there with him. He's looking to go for the 3-peat here on the series, trying to win his 3rd championship in a row. So he's feeling pretty confident, sitting second there. He's got a little bit of a points gap between himself and that cut line right now, as he is 10 points above Danny White, where White is sitting there in 4th. Melvin Brangrew, though, in 3rd, just only 3 points ahead of Danny White, and Danny in that final championship 4 position. And unfortunately, on the outside looking in, coming into this race, you do see Brandon Holder back there. He is 6 points back of that cut line. He needs to gain 6 or more points here over Danny White to try and work his way into the championship battle. And for Jonathan Gaston, he is 11 points back here, so he needs a big day, a great day, or potentially a win to try to lock his way in here. Same with any of the other drivers. You win and you're into that championship round, where it could knock, Melvin Brangrew, Danny White, or even Brian Underwood potentially out of the championship, as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, and ready to go to battle here as a beautiful facility to do our battle here tonight, man. Bristol Motor Speedway for our penultimate race of the season, man. This is a showdown racetrack like we have never seen, and this is going to make for a lot of fun, a lot of great racing, and a lot of craziness to unfold here this evening. As Daniel Hewitt says, Alex Gate is my dad. He's your daddy. I can tell he's your daddy. Says Alex Gate is like heavy bag. I can beat him whenever, wherever. Okay. I don't get that reference. Is like heavy bag. I don't understand that, but nonetheless, Daniel, appreciate you tuning in, cheering on that number 77 ride of Alex Gates, as Gates will get fired off in about the 8th position. But starting in the pole position in the 81, it is Sean Merriman. Merriman will start in the pole position here this evening, in the driver that's the last out of our championship 6. He's back there in position number 2. So for the Gaston iRacing Graphics, the G-Man himself, he needs to try to work his way up here, lead some laps, maybe win a couple of these stages, put himself into a better position where he can try and lock in to our playoffs. As Jimmy 3 times says, I'm glad I'm locked in, says hi to his Uncle Lonnie, and says, play that command, let's go, baby. Yes, Sirski, let's get it, chat. You guys know what's up. It is time for our opening command here this evening, brought to you by Lonnie Crider.
Well, here we are at Bristol. Anything can happen at Bristol. So, guys, be careful out there tonight. Hey, it's almost Thanksgiving, guys. Going to get next week off, eat a lot of turkey, and rest up, because that championship's getting closer and closer by the minute. Hey, Lonnie Crider, glad to be with you tonight. Start those digits, and let's go racing.
Alrighty, huge shout out there to Lonnie Crider as he comes in with our opening command here this evening to fire these engines and get these drivers rolling out and onto the racetrack. As we were going through the starting lineup there, it is Sean Merriman who will start in the pole position. To his outside will be Looks like Gaston going to the back of the pack here potentially. So for Gaston qualifying in second, things looked really, really good there for that 72 ride. Unfortunately, now going to the back of the pack. That will move Brandon Holder, another driver outside that cut line, up and into position number 2. Wesley Burke will start in position number 3 with Danny White there to his outside. Danny trying to keep himself in that top 4 here, trying to navigate his way into the championship race. So isn't Brian Underwood, who will start there in that 5th position. Wyatt Youngblood in position number 6 is Josh Crider there in position number 7. Already locked into the championship 4 in a couple weeks time. So for the 5 ride, he's feeling very, very good. A little bit less worried about how this race may play out for himself. And now we'll get to just go out there, have some fun, battle, and get prepared for that championship race in a few weeks. As Farrell Robbins, Melvin Brengerer, Chris Getz, Nathan Brookover, Ben Gleason, Jordan Crider, and Jonathan Gaston bring up the rear of the field. Looks like Alex Gates and Andrew Floyd will have to start from pit road as here we go. Quickly seeing that green flag be displayed here this evening. And already we see the outside lane able to put the foot to the throttle. And it's Brandon Holder who quickly takes over the race lead. So Holder jumps out in front, has himself the top spot, and now looks to trying to set sail. Holder is a driver that's on the outside of the championship 4, looking in. He knows he needs to get some good stage points, knows he needs to try and potentially win this race to lock his way into our championship race here in 2 weeks' time, as we are off next Saturday for Thanksgiving weekend in the good old America. And so we'll be back in 2 weeks' time after tonight for our championship battle. So it gives these drivers a little extra time to kind of get, tested and tune in and trying to get themselves locked and loaded for that championship battle. But first, we got to figure out who that championship 4 will be. As Holder continues to lead the way, Danny White right there in second. Danny knows he's got to try to keep this 31 ride right in the picture of it, man. He's got to try to keep that 31 kind of either right in front of him or hopefully back behind him to try to eliminate the 31 of Brandon Holder, really gaining any major points on him here and potentially trying to close that gap and make it a tighter race here for that 4th and final transfer spot into our championship here after this evening. Is Wyatt Youngblood, good to see Youngblood back out there on the racetrack as the JBL 18 ride rolls right there in that 3rd position, running strong right now in P3, as we do see Wesley Burke, Brian Underwood, our top 5, Josh Crider back there in 6 with Sean Merriman unfortunately falling backwards here now into the 7th position. So for Sean Merriman, he's fallen back quite a bit right out of the get-go here in this race. Qualified in that pole position, definitely not what we normally see out of this 81 ride, going backwards as of right now. Melvin Brengerer there in 8th with Nathan Brookover back in 9th. Farrell Robbins will round out our top 10 as Brengerer, another driver that needs to try to earn as many points as possible here, and if he can try to earn enough, he can try to lock his way into that championship battle after this evening. For right now, Brandon Holder's doing everything he needs to do to try to work his way into that championship as he continues to lead this race. Is nice and easy down into corner number 3 and out of corner number 4 for Brandon Holder. He will click off lap number 10. So 10 laps completed, still 190 laps left to go. Still a lot of time for these drivers to duke it out here in this one. As Daniel says, Alex Gates is the Marine Corps Chuck Norris. I like that. The Marine Corps Chuck Norris. As we do see Wesley Burke, he's still rolling there in 4th. We do see Brian Underwood hanging on to that 5th position here, just kind of lurking outside the top 4 right now. Josh Crider there in 6th. As Merriman trying to regain, trying to rebound here. We'll see if he can try to find that extra bit of speed and race his way back up towards the front here throughout this race. As Brengerer, Nathan Brookover, Jonathan Gaston all the way back in that 10th position. Gaston knows he needs to try to race his way up here towards the front. He qualified in 2nd. Looked really, really strong there early on in that qualifying session and in practice. So for the G-Man, maybe a good car, maybe a good drive here tonight. Maybe he can capture his way a ticket into that championship battle. But for right now, he is back in points. He's 11 points behind that cut line. Needs to try to find another gear. Needs to try to jump up here and rebound from having that EOL to start this race. As he's gotten around Farrell Robbins, he now works his way around Nathan Brookover. Gaston now finds himself into that 9th position as Farrell Robbins, Ben Gleason back there in that 11th and 12th position. Chris Getz there in 13th. Jordan Crider back in 14th, and we do see Alex Gates finally jumping out there onto the Speedway. Gates in that Mission 22 ride up in, unfortunately, after missing the start of this race, I do believe he is about 3 or 4 laps down. I do believe 4 laps down out there on the racetrack. So a tough break there for the 77 run for Andrew Floyd. Never jumped in here for this feature event. As of yet, he may still come in here for some fun, but as of right now, he's parked down behind pit wall and not in this race. But for Brandon Holder, he's doing everything he can do. There's really not much else he can do throughout a race here, knowing that all he can really do is just try to maximize his points. If he can get maximum points on the day, win the stages, win the race, obviously winning the race, you can lock your way in. But if you can get, pretty much everything else, if you come second in this feature event, but you win both stages, maybe that's enough points that you can leapfrog a couple of those drivers like Danny White, like Melvin Brengerer, to try to advance yourself into the championship. So for right now, he's doing everything that he can possibly do, and after 20 laps of hard racing action, he continues to lead the way here in this one, continues to show these drivers how to get it done, and he knows that stage number 1, it doesn't end here for a little bit at the end of lap number 50. So the completion of lap 50 is the end of stage number 1 here this evening. Stage number 2 will be another 50 lap run. So right at that 100 lap marker, we will end stage number 2 here this evening. So for all these drivers, they know that they're gonna have pit stops, they're gonna have opportunities with these stage breaks to potentially try to give themselves a little bit of an advantage, maybe take some swings at some setup changes, maybe try to play some different strategy with tire strat or anything else to try to work your way into a better finishing position. But for right now, a lot of these drivers, man, they're just doing a fantastic job continuing to battle out there on the Speedway. And we do see Jonathan Gaston continuing to try to race his way back up towards the front here. Have that EOL off the start, but man, he looked good. He looked strong there. And here he is already racing his way around Sean Merriman, now trying to get around Josh Crider for position number 7. So for Jonathan Gaston, technically started at the rear of the field back in that 14th position. He's gained 7 spots, now finds himself here in 7th, and he's not too far away from running into a few more of his playoff competitors here. Melvin Brengerer right there in front of him. Brian Underwood up and into the 6th position, as you do see Wesley Burke working his way around Wyatt Youngblood. Youngblood falls back into position number 4 out there on the Speedway, but it's still all Brandon Holder. Holder and Danny White continuing to lead the way here in this one, man. This has been some good racing, man. Some solid racing early on. 28 laps now completed here. Clean and green, and that's what we love to see. Just good, hard, absolutely amazing racing action. And if they continue to run non-stop green flag laps, chat, we could go through this race in a quick hurry. If we don't see a lot of yellow flags, man, 200 laps, it seems like a lot. But here at Bristol, when these drivers are running 15-second lap times, they're clicking these laps off in a quick hurry. And for a lot of these drivers, that's where things could, arise. Issues could become a problem for a lot of these drivers. When you start to run so many laps, you start to see so many corners. If you kind of get out of rhythm, if we do get a couple caution flags, it does kind of get you a little flustered or a little bit out of your comfort zone. That's where even more mistakes tend to happen, and drivers may start to lose focus, especially after our stages and we get that 100-lap run towards the end of this race. That's where a lot of them could really start to run into some issues, maybe not mechanically or raceability, but potentially mentally out there on the racetrack. If you start to, make some mistakes, you start to slip up a little bit, you cost yourself half a second here, half a second there. There's a lot of drivers that may take advantage advantage of that in a quick hurry as Danny White still sitting here in position number 2. Wesley Burke trying to reel him in. Underwood now up and into 4th, and look back behind Brian Underwood. Melvin Brangerer has worked his way around Wyatt Youngblood. Here comes Gaston. He's looking to make that move on the JBL number 18 for position number 6 here on the Speedway. Sean Merriman's right there as well. Merriman's trying to work his way back up towards the front here. Third in that pole position, unfortunately fell back quickly here in this feature event, but for the 81, he's just hanging tough here. He's been right there roughly with Melvin Brangerer and Underwood here for a little while, and now starting to gain a few more spots. He's gotten around Wyatt Youngblood. He's gotten around Josh Crider. As Crider up into the outside fence right there for one of our playoff drivers. Obviously, you know, it sucks to see a playoff driver have issues, but for the 5 ride, he's locked in. He doesn't need to worry about this race. He's locked into the next round. He is good to go. He doesn't have to worry too much here this evening, so he just gets to go out here, have some fun, maybe try some different things, maybe try to learn something for the future for where, you know, the next season when we come back here to Bristol Motor Speedway, maybe he'll have a little bit of those notes or different things that worked or didn't work in the back of his mind or written down that he can use to his advantage. And I know right now for Brandon Holder, he's definitely got his notebook open. It is run away with the race. Do exactly what you need to do. That is maximize your points and try to just win this race. As we do see Danny White now starting to fall back here quite a bit. So it seems like a lot of drivers that were maybe a little harder on the throttle, maybe a little bit too much get up and go off the get-go, starting to fall backwards here now. We see Danny White now back into 6th. We saw Wyatt Youngblood sliding back there. Josh Crider falling back a little bit early on as well, and we start to see a few of these other drivers that were maybe a little bit easier on their equipment starting to work their way up towards the front. But for Brandon Holder, he's still clicking off great lap times, still running away from the rest of the field here as Wesley Burke rolls in 2nd. Underwood there in 3rd. Melvin Brangerer trying to hold on to position number 4, and if you're Brangerer or Brian Underwood, you know that you need the points. You need the points. You need a good stage finish here, and with only about 8 laps left to go here in this stage, every spot that you lose, every spot that you give up is another point that could be catastrophic for your season. You give up 1 or 2, potentially that's all it takes for someone to catch up to you or pass you in the point standings and potentially knock you out of the playoffs. So for the 72 rider, Jonathan Gaston, he's trying to work his way around the 19 ride. Brangerer is definitely not going to give him an inch out there, does not want to lose that spot. Now you do see the 81 rider, Sean Merriman, working to that outside lane here of the 72. That may slide Gaston back into that 6th position as he's just been struggling to try to get around the 19 ride. And if you're Brangerer, you know that Gaston is one of those drivers that is looking to leapfrog you here in the point standings. And now he's going to go to the outside. Going to look up there. Really nothing there. Is now, oh man, the 81 right is zooming, chat. He's been waiting patiently. Now it's time to strike. And for Sean Merriman, finds something up there in that outside lane. And looks like he may have found the ticket as he is now trying to just run away with it. Now we see the 6th ride of Underwood. He goes up there to that middle lane. Now here comes a big run for the 72 again. Poking his nose underneath that 19 ride. Looked like he was going to try to take him 3 wide, and now it looks like he may. There we go, 3 wide here for that 4th position. Oh, Underwood goes high. He scrapes the outside fence. Now the 19 ride's going to hang on to it as, man, Melvin Brangerer, Gaston, these guys are putting on a show for us. Is out in front. The 31 ride of Brandon Holder had just lapped Alex Gates again, and the 5 ride of Josh Crider had just went a lap down as well. As Wesley Burke rolls in 2nd, he's trying to keep Sean Merriman back there at bay as Gaston moves up into 4th. Brangerer back in 5th, and Brian Underwood now sits into that 6th position. Ben Gleason, Danny White, Wyatt Youngblood, and Farrell Robbins round out our top 10, but down and out of corner number 4 and across the line. That will complete lap number 50 right there. So stage number 1 goes to the 31 of Brandon Holder as Holder picks up the first stage win of the evening. First stage win goes to the 31 ride here this evening, and there is the caution flag for the stage break. So stage number 1 comes to a close. Wesley Burke will come home in second. Sean Merriman will come home in third. Gaston from the back of the pack up and into fourth here. Great run right there for the 72 as Gaston now sits in position number 4 here. Get some good stage points in for Brandon Holder and for Jonathan Gaston, 2 drivers that were on the outside of the point standings looking in, both earning some very valuable stage points there in stage number 1. Melvin Brangruer comes home in 5th, earns some stage points there himself, with Gleason Underwood there in 7th, Danny White in 8th. And White Youngblood, Farrell Robbins routing out our top 10. Jordan Crider, Chris Getz, and Josh Crider are locked in already to the Championship 4 driver. The 5 ride of Josh Crider after winning last week. He sits here in the 13th position. Unfortunately, he is scored as a lap down. He's going to get the lucky dog, though, the free pass back on the lead lap, so that's a great break there for the 5 ride to try to, get himself kind of back into the battle here this evening. But everyone else comes down pit road, and it looks like there may be some strategy calls. Who's going to make the right decision here? Sean Merriman, all of our top 4 right here in this mix. There you go, the 31 ride done his service first. He gets out. Looks like he'll win the race. The 07 will come out in second. Merriman there in third, and Gaston will come out still in that 4th position. Melvin Brangruer, Ben Gleason, Brian Underwood, Danny White. So it looks like our top 10 pretty much stays the same here as Nathan Brookover does come down pit road. And for Brookover, this is a mistake you just cannot have if you're the 27 ride. Unfortunately, he's already out of the playoffs, but for the 27 ride, speeding down pit road. He's gotten a black flag. He will have to serve that penalty potentially during green flag conditions or a hold down here down pit side. Nonetheless, he will more than likely lose a lap again here today, but we'll have to wait and see. Actually, it looks like they may have cleared that black flag for Brookover. Maybe a blessing there for him. We do see Josh Crider also coming down pit road as well. He'll get his service and get ready to roll back out there onto the speedway, but it's Brandon Holder who's got the race lead still. Can he run away with it? Can he win stage 1 and stage 2 and really give himself the best opportunity to potentially leapfrog a few of our other top 4 drivers coming into this race to steal one of the championship 4 positions here this evening? Let's take another look back at the point standings as of right now. So Crider locked in. He is locked in. He is on his way to that championship 4. But for Underwood, Brangruer, Danny White, they're sitting 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Now, they do have a bit of an advantage over Holder and Gaston, but they all just lost stage points to Brandon Holder, who won this stage, and Gaston, who came 4th in that stage. So they gave a little bit back right there. Now, is that going to make a difference? We'll have to wait and see if they can get another good stage here in stage number 2. Earn that extra points again. Maybe it tightens things up that much more and potentially, really makes this final run of the day that much more stressful for any of our other playoff drivers outside of that 5 ride. As here we go, back to green flag racing. Holder looking to try to hang on to the race lead as the SRP machine number 07, Wesley Burke, trying to work his way around that 31. Unfortunately, though, the caution flag will come back out. No, it's one of our playoff drivers. Danny White gets tied up here. So our first playoff driver to run into an issue. Let's take a look back and see what happens. Danny shoots it into the corner right here, and then Ben Gleason's going to get up and into him. Oh, that's some big hits here. Alex Gates in there. Brookover's in it. Oh, man, Danny White getting a lot of damage right there early on. You don't want that. You don't want to have to use up that quick repair this early either. So that's a tough spot right there for Danny White. Let's take another look at it, see if we can get another angle here at the 79 ride. So he's going to shoot it down into corner number 1. He makes the pass here, and then through the center of the corner, looks like he just kind of starts to drift down, trying to get a bigger run on corner exit. And through the center of the corner, the 66 of Gleason just carrying a lot more speed there than Danny. Runs into him, gets him loose, washes him up the racetrack. That's where you see White Youngblood. Look at Chris Gates. They both get some pretty heavy damage into the 18 ride. And then Danny White already damaged. Here comes the 27 ride just to come in and clean him out there on the front straightaway, man. That is a heartbreaker for Danny White. So Danny's going to be looking for some quick repair work here, trying to get this thing fixed up as you see it crab walking down pit road. Obviously, crew's going to have to do a lot of work trying to get this thing, fixed back up or potentially into a backup car. Nathan broke over back down pit road again here. Same with Josh Crider, who's also coming back down pit road. He did get a little bit of damage out of that. We did see Wyatt Youngblood. He had to come down pit road, use that quick repair. I do believe Alex Gates. Looks like Gates has actually left this race. So it looks like Alex Gates potentially done this evening after 50 laps of racing action for the 77 ride. Missed the start of this race and then tied up there in that wreck, and it looks like for the 77 he's still going to back down pit side and off of the racetrack. So tough break right there for Alex Gates. As we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to try this all over again. Another restart here. That's just going to bring us closer to the end of stage number 2, which brings us a little closer to deciphering who may be in play here for this championship battle in 2 weeks' time. As the 31 rider Brandon Holder continues to lead the way, Burke there in second, and now it is the 72 Gaston who's able to work his way up and in to position number 3. John Merriman in fourth with Melvin Brengruer, Brian Underwood, a couple of our playoff drivers really needing some good runs here in this second stage and throughout the rest of this race. And then obviously Danny White back here in 12th, man, already using that quick repair up. If he gets tied up in another big wreck like that, if that car gets destroyed, Danny White's playoff opportunities here, even though he came into this race sitting in 4th in that championship battle. He may be down and out of it after another big wreck like that. So for Danny White, he's going to have to be walking on eggshells for the rest of the evening. As here we go, back to green flag racing. Great restart there for Brandon Holder. As Wesley Burke trying to hold off that 81 right as quickly outside lane, able to get a bit of a launch, a bit of a gap there as the 72 at Gaston does slide back into 4th here, but he's trying to hang right there with the 81 and the 07 ride. But here comes Brengruer, here comes Brian Underwood. They're looking to get their battles going here again as well. They're looking to try to work their way back up towards the front of the pack here, hoping that they can maybe lead some laps or maybe get a couple extra stage points here out of the day to try to keep that gap a little bit bigger throughout this race. As there you go, the 81 kind of slips up. He'll lose another spot there as Gaston gets back around him. Now here comes Brengruer. Looking down to the inside, he will make that pass, and so won't the 6 of Underwood. So again, looks like another restart here. Sean Merriman seems to get off a little bit slow here on these restarts. Definitely looks like the 81 maybe a little bit more built for the long run. So for the 81, maybe these stages won't really work out into his favor, but maybe that last stage of the day, the 100 laps of racing action, if we don't see a lot of caution flags, could really bring this 81 ride into the picture to try and steal this win. But for Brandon Holder, he continues to hold down the top spot this time, though. Doesn't look like he's going to run away as easily as he did in that first stage. The 07 of Wesley Burke, the 72 of Gaston looking to stay right there with them. But for this 31 rider, Brandon Holder, he knows he needs to basically come out here, have a perfect race, win these stages, close that points gap, and put himself into a position to potentially leapfrog some of these other drivers in the point standings and put himself into that championship for battle in 2 weeks' time. As Brandon Holder last time around laid down his best lap of this race, a 14:91, a blazing fast lap time there for that number 31 machine. As Wesley Burke back in second, and we see Gaston still hanging on to 3rd here. Brengruer back in 4th, Underwood there in 5th. So 4 of our top 5 all a part of our playoffs here, part of that 3rd round, the round of 6 here this evening that comes to a close after tonight. Our next closest championship 6 battler right now is that number 79 right of Danny White and Josh Crider right there behind him. Crider went a lap down, luckily enough, got that free pass and back on the lead lap. So for the Rubber Duck Production Season 2 champion, the number 5 rider Crider, who's already locked into that championship 4, he is just rolling here in the 10th position, just enjoying his time scot-free here this evening from Bristol Motor Speedway. For Danny White, maybe not enjoying it as much as some of the other ones at the front of the field. Obviously was running up there, was running really solid at the beginning of that stage, fell back there late in that stage, did not earn really any extra points between himself and Holder or Gaston, Branguer, any of these guys. So unfortunately for the 79 ride, that drew him a lot closer to potentially not transferring through into that championship 4 here this evening. So for Danny White, sitting back there in that 9th position, he may be trying to play a little bit of a different strategy. Maybe trying to hang on here, maybe try to save a little bit of tire, and then try to run up through the field like we saw there with Sean Merriman late in that first stage. Sean maybe trying to do that again here as he's just been kind of hanging out in that 6th position. Fell back a few spots there and then has just kind of settled in here behind the 6 of Brian Underwood and the 19 of Melvin Branguer. But for Jonathan Gaston, he continues to look to try to hunt down the 07 of Wesley Burke, and for the 31 ride of Brandon Holder, he's just trying to pull away here once again. He had over a 4-second gap the first stage here between himself and our 2nd place driver Wesley Burke, and now for the 31 machine, he's opened up almost 7/10 of a second again between himself and that 07 ride. So Brandon Holder looking for another stage win here this evening, trying to put himself into that championship battle, man, with a good solid run. A great drive here tonight could definitely do the magic and get him into the show with our championship here, and I do believe season number 7, I do believe we're into now. Season 7, something like that already. My gosh, that's crazy. Season 7. I do believe we're in season 7. Is season 7 or season 6? One or the other. I know it's been quite a few seasons, that is for dang certain, as these guys have been putting on an absolutely masterclass of shows for us again here this year, man. Everyone just continues to do a fantastic job. All the league admins, all the drivers, everybody just continues to work together, put on absolutely amazing events, amazing races, and man, it's a lot of fun to watch these guys continue to just keep on battling week after week after week, and we absolutely love it. Yeah, this is season 6. Season 6 here tonight. So for season 6, it's been a crazy one, man. A lot of drivers have come, a lot of drivers have gone. Some have just kind of disappeared into the thick of it here. Obviously, you know, we're missing George Jewell, we're missing a couple of these other guys. Joshua Siegfried, T.G. Reese no longer out there. Some of the other ones, man. Ben Romano's not out there. Ryan Campbell, Ranier. A lot of cats, man. A lot of fast drivers. Matthew Morgan. Evan Calkins isn't out there. Greg Wood Sr.'s not out there. Will Moore. Keith Ayers. Where'd everybody go? No Ryan Rose. Michael Ware not out there. Man. A lot of great drivers. A lot of fast cats. A lot of great drivers and performers here, unfortunately. Either not running here tonight or haven't ran in quite a little while. You know, you look back at Sean Jensick as well. William Elmore's not out there. Heartbreaker for some of them, man. Heartbreaker for some of them. Some of them just give up after so long. Some of them, you know, they realize that their championship hopes or their opportunity to maybe even make it into the playoffs is no longer mathematically a possibility. And some of them just, you know, get busy with things. Life happens, and it sucks to see because we always like to see these guys on a Saturday night up here battling, enjoying it, and having some fun here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League. And I know next season, hopefully, we'll get a lot of those guys back. A lot of those guys right back into the mix here to try and work themselves, you know, into maybe the season 7 championship battle, as we do see a bit of a battle here brewing behind our race leader Wesley Burke, trying to hold on to second. Jonathan Gaston trying to take it away from him here. Gaston working on his back bumper. Bit of a gap now between our 2nd and 3rd place driver, all the way back to 4th to Brian Underwood. Then we see Sean Merriman. Merriman's worked his way back up into 5th. We do see Danny White now into 6th. Josh Crider rolls there in 7th. We see Wyatt Youngblood, Ben Gleason, and Jordan Crider rounding out our top 10. Farrell Robbins there in 11th. Chris Getz, Melvin Branguer. Oh, man, heavy contact here for Branguer. Oh, no, for one of our playoff drivers. This is not a spot you want to be in, as he has fallen backwards and now has heavy damage here on this 19 ride. Let's take a look at it here. Maybe a little help right there. Him and the 6 of Underwood make contact. Shoots the 19 ride off the speedway there. And that's where we find Melvin Brenger into the outside fence. Man, this is a heartbreaker here for Melvin. Trying to work his way into that championship 4, and here tonight came in above that cut line, but this could really force him below the cut line here this evening as he's just trying to hang on to it. Rolling back right now in that 13th position, trying to keep himself on the lead lap. Is down across the line. One of the drivers behind him that is chasing him down here for that 4th and final transfer spot into our championship 4 is this 31 rider, Brandon Holder, who continues to lead the way. Holder's out in front. Gaston's there in second. So this is kind of a worst case scenario now for Melvin Brenger, man. Melvin back in 13th. These guys are bound to get some pretty good stage points here in stage number 1 and 2 over top of him, and that could really move him to the outside looking in here, going into our championship battle in a couple weeks' time, as we do see the 27 up and into the fence, out of the way though of our race leaders. They get by him rather quickly as Sean Merriman does jump up into 4th here. Brian Underwood trying to hold on to position number 5 as Danny White back there in position number 6. He's trying to earn some more stage points here if he can work that 79 ride up and around Underwood, or maybe up towards the front a little bit farther. Here is Ben Gleason, Josh Crider, Jordan Crider right there, door to door. We see Farrell Robbins right there in 10th, but out in front, looking to try to win stage number 2 here this evening, trying to win stage 1 and 2 in sweep our stages here today. He's that 31 of Brandon Holder. As Holder down across the line, we'll see 1 lap left to go. So 1 lap left to go here in this stage as he rounds corner number 2, back down the back straightaway into 3. Nice and easy down and out of corner number 4. No pressure to his back bumper, and for the target, number 31, he's right on target as the 31 Holder picks up stage win number 1 and stage win number 2 here this evening. And now we'll try to go for the trifecta and look to try to sweep these drivers away from their point standings, from their perches here this evening. If he can try to jump up here and just roll a perfect win this evening, man. If he can get a big win, if he can jump up here, win not only both stages and the race, lock his way into that championship 4 in 2 weeks' time, this could really be a lot of extra pressure onto the other 3 drivers. I think the 31 ride is going to be a pretty sizable threat if he goes to that championship 4 to try to win this championship away. And knowing that we go to a racetrack like Chicagoland could definitely make things very, very interesting, because obviously we saw the 31 ride. He's been good all season long, especially when it comes to a lot of those mile-and-a-half racetracks. Last week, though, he kind of struggled a little bit at Michigan. Michigan is a lot like Chicagoland, so if he has another bad race there in that championship 4 battle, that could be the championship out of his wins. But for the 5 ride of Josh Crider, who was able to win there at Michigan, man, if he can recreate that and win another race, and obviously be in the final race of the season, win that championship, and become the second 2-time champion here in the series, man, would definitely be a special thing there for that 5 ride of Josh Crider. I think that's what Crider's really got to be thinking about, man. I'm sure he's already been practicing more this week there at Chicagoland than practicing here at Bristol Motor Speedway. After winning last week and locking his way in, this is really a no-brainer that, you don't have to really worry about this race. You don't have to jump out there. You don't need stage wins. You don't need any points. You're locked in. You don't have to worry. You just have to show up, and that's all the 5 ride really needed to do. But now he's out there just running, having some fun, and maybe trying to have a good run towards the end here, trying to build up a little bit more confidence, maybe a little bit more momentum heading into that championship race. But for right now, the driver that's out there on the Speedway, maybe after last week, didn't really have a whole lot of momentum, came in with a bit of a gap between himself and that cut line after a bad race, though, not earning any stage points, and obviously coming home, a little deeper in the field, finds himself on the outside of the cut line looking in. But I think after those 2 stage wins, he's got to be right there, man. He's got to be right there on Danny White's back bumper for that championship points battle, or potentially, even, right there tight with Brian Underwood and Melvin Brenger, especially with Brenger running into his problems, coming home in 13th there, not earning any stage points. Underwood really didn't get many stage points throughout this race, and either did Danny White. So for Brandon Holder, And for that 72 ride of Jonathan Gaston, who was a little slower there on that pit stop. Gaston comes out in the 11th position. He'll have to try to rebound and work his way back up through the field here. As here we go, back to green flag racing is the 31. Another good restart, another good launch for Brandon Holder as he's looking to try to open up that race lead once again. Looking to just try to run away with this one. Leave no question marks here this evening. Leave no doubt in anyone's mind that he was the car to beat here today. Obviously already leading virtually every lap here in this feature event. The 31 has just been a man on a mission right from the drop of the green flag, and honestly I don't know if anyone has led another lap other than this 31 ride. I think Holder's been out in front pretty much every single lap here this evening. So if you're Brandon Holder, you're sitting pretty, you're feeling confident, you're feeling good. You just need to make sure you go out and execute, have no issues, have no mistakes, and maybe get a little lucky with a mid-stage, mid-run caution flag here to really help your chances out that much more, because that's where we see a lot of drivers make mistakes, especially at a track like Bristol Motor Speedway, is that speeding down pit road and making green flag pit stops is entirely different than, just battling or any other racetrack here, man. It's kind of like Martinsville. It's another one that can be really, really different, and even pitting under yellow is different here. Now, I'm not sure how the admins have this race set up, but normally during green flag conditions, if you got to go down pit road, you don't have to go all the way around the speedway here. As let me take a look here. When we go down into corner number 2 right here, this is normally where we see the entrance here to pit road right there. So that's normally the entrance. So you basically got to go all the way around the racetrack to the exit of pit road. So they're kind of right on the same straightaway together. And under yellow, you got to go all the way around the racetrack basically for that caution lap. But for these drivers right now out on the speedway, during green flag conditions, making green flag pit stops, all you got to do is enter and exit on your straightaway that your pit box is on. So if your pit box is on the front straightaway, all you got to do is pit on the front straightaway. You don't have to go all the way around the speedway. For a lot of drivers, we've seen it before where they make that mistake and they just have that little bit of a brain fart and they enter on the wrong side and end up basically making 2 pit stops. And unfortunately, that costs you a lot of time out there on the speedway. So you got to really make sure you know the rules, you know how things are going to run. You don't want to make a mistake and enter on the wrong pit road, because it may stay the same way as the caution flag pit stops, or it may go the other direction. So as you see these drivers, you can see them rolling around out there on the racetrack, and you can see kind of where some of these drivers and where pit road entry and exit is there with that track map. Right there is pit road entry during yellow flags. And you saw that blue cone there as well. That is also the pit road exit. So you virtually got to go all the way around the speedway here to make a pit stop here at Bristol Motor Speedway under the caution flag. Now, under green flag, it may be different. It may just be straightaways here at the speedway. So we'll have to wait and see how this gets played out and who's going to be able to put themselves into the best position here late in this race, and who may potentially make a mistake. You get caught speeding down pit road, you got to make another pass-through penalty, or you get a pull down pit road. You got to spend 30 seconds held in your pit stall. 30 seconds here at Bristol Motor Speedway is virtually 2 laps. So you may go 2 laps down just on that one simple mistake. That one single penalty could cost you not only a chance at winning the race or a chance at a top 5, or potentially may take away your chance of trying to work yourself into that championship 4 in 2 weeks. So for Brandon Holder, he's out front, he's feeling good, he's feeling A-OK, just cannot have that mistake down pit road. Wesley Birkenau, playoff driver, rolls there in second with Brian Underwood back in position number 3 here. Another one of our playoff drivers here came in with a bit of a cushion between himself and that cut line. I don't think it was a big enough cushion that he's feeling super confident or comfortable right now, but for the 6 machine, he's just trying to do exactly what he does. Just be consistent, not make any mistakes, not put himself into any bad positions. And for right now, for the 6 machine, rolls in that 3rd position. position, I do believe would be enough to probably work his way into the next round of our playoffs and try to go for our 3rd championship in a row, as he is the back-to-back champion here in the Premium Stock Car Racing League. Won our championship in Season 4, won the championship in Season 5, and now looking for his 3rd in a row here, looking for the three-peat here this season. The 6th rider, Brian Underwood, I do believe should be in line to make it into the show, but unless you win this race, you're really not locked in, so you just gotta try to get the best finish you can here and hope that you earned enough stage points, or your fellow competitors behind you did not earn any extra points on top of you, or that they can leapfrog you and potentially knock you out of this championship battle. As Holder, though, continues to lead the way this time, though, after, a 20-plus lap run here. 31 rider really hasn't pulled too far away here. Wesley Burke looking like he's trying to hang on right there with them. Rolling back in that 2nd position. It's about 0.6 of a second between 1st and 2nd, as you see Underwood and Sean Merriman right there in position number 4. Melvin Brengerer back in 5th as he's worked his way up inside the top 5 once again this evening. And now we do see the number 72, Jonathan Gaston. We saw Gaston make a bit of a slower pit stop there during that last caution flag, as he worked his way up and into the top 6 now after having to restart back in with that 11th or 12th position. Then you saw our another one of our championship 6 drivers here battling his way, trying to rebound, trying to race his way back up towards the front of the field here. That 79 rider, Danny White, just bounced it pretty hard there off the outside fence. Luckily enough, able to hang on to it, didn't get ran over from Youngblood or Josh Crider, and able to hang on to the 7th position for right now, as there's the 18, White Youngblood will now virtually do the exact same thing we saw Danny White do. Drives it in and out of corner number 4 a little bit too far, bounces it off the outside fence, kills a little bit of speed, a little bit of momentum, and hopefully doesn't cause any internal damage or handling issues with the suspension for the 18 run as he rolls back in that 8th position. Josh Crider there in 9th as Ben Gleason now looking down to his inside. Farrell Robbins, Chris gets our top 12 out there on the Speedway with Brookover in that 13th position. Jordan Crider finds himself at least 1 lap down right now. Unfortunately, he is the first driver a lap down out on the Speedway. Alex Gates and Andrew Floyd still off of the racing surface. So for Jordan Crider, he's hoping that he can catch a caution flag here and potentially get himself back on the lead lap and back into this race. But he's got to hope for a quick one, because our race leaders are not too far away from putting Brooke over once again a lap down out there on the racetrack. As Brandon Holder continues to lead the way here, 135 laps completed the next time by the start-finish line. So this time, down out of 3 and out of 4, there we go, down across the line, 135 laps are now completed. That means 65 more laps left to go here in this feature event. 65 more laps left to duke it out, left to try and put yourself into one of our transfer spots into that championship 4 here this season, as we came in with 6 drivers still battling for the championship. Unfortunately, after tonight, our final elimination race, 2 more drivers will be eliminated. 4 drivers will move on to duke it out from Chicagoland Speedway for the Season 6 championship here with the Premium Stock Car Racing League, as Brandon Holder continues to lead the way. He came in below the cut line. He was on the outside looking in, but with 2 stage wins and leading the way right now, he's got to be feeling pretty confident about where he's sitting as he's starting to build that lead up once again between himself and Wesley Burke. Burke, a non-playoff driver, rolls there in 2nd. Underwood came into this race, I do believe, in about the, he came in 2nd here, and he had about 10 points between himself and that cut line. Had about, I don't even know what that is, 16 points between himself and that number 31 of Brandon Holder. So even with Holder winning both stages, with Underwood getting, that, I believe, 5th position in both the stages, didn't really lose a ton of bonus points there to the 31 ride, really hung right there with him, and should still have a bit of a lead between himself and Brandon Holder here towards the end of this race when it comes to the points. But for Brian Underwood. You start to slide back, you start to fall back. You know, it could take you out of that playoff picture in a quick hurry. So no one's really safe except for Josh Crider. Crider rolling there in that 9th position. He's the only one that's safe, man. He's locked into the next round after a big win last week at Michigan International Speedway. The 5 ride is the only one confident here. So out of the 6, 1 is already claimed, and one of our 4 championship drivers has already found their way into the battle here, and that is Josh Crider. The rest of them still have to duke it out. Brandon Holder, Ryan Underwood, Jonathan Gaston, who's now back up inside the top 5, rolling there in that 5th position, and Danny White right there behind him in position number 6 here. They all got to duke it out. They're going to have to slice and dice here. You throw in Melvin Brengerer as well there in 7th, I do believe is the other one. So it's Brandon Holder, Brian Underwood, Jonathan Gaston, Danny White, and Melvin Brengerer. The 5 other drivers that have to battle, have to duke it out. And here we go. I do believe we're going to start to see some green flag pit stops. Here comes Sean Merriman. Here comes Ben Gleason. Chris Getz also down pit road. Oh, baby, this is where things get very, very interesting, and it does look like drivers have to enter down in corner number 2. Actually, is it corner 2 or corner 4? I can't even remember now where you got to enter pit road here. I do believe it is corner number 2. You got to enter pit road, and you got to go all the way around the racetrack. This is a slow, creeping pace, and I do believe for Sean Merriman, he gets a black flag. Caught speeding down pit side. This is what we talked about. You cannot have a black flag here at Bristol. Unfortunately for Sean Merriman, he finds out the hard way. Here comes Brandon Holder. Holder now looking to try to race his way down here. Obviously trying to stay on pit road speed. Cannot make a mistake. Cannot get a black flag. Cannot throw away your chance at potentially winning a ticket here into that championship battle. So for Brandon Holder, nice and easy, does hit his pit stall. No black flags for him as of yet. We did see Wesley Burke come down pit row. We saw Ben Gleason, Chris Getz, and Farrell Robbins. Black flag, looked like he got a bad entry here to pit lane, and unfortunately for that 76 ride, I do believe he is going to get a black right there. As here we go, 31 ride, back up the speed. There we go. That's the exit line right there. That blue cone is the exit spot for pit lane, and Brandon Holder does get out of the pits here, but it does look like Wesley Burke may have leapfrogged him here coming down pit side a lap earlier. So Wesley Burke now in front of the 31 of Brandon Holder. That may have been Holder's race right there. Maybe just trying to play it a little bit safer, maybe trying to keep himself, you know, a little farther off the throttle, trying to, you know, not get caught with speeding or anything else. Maybe played it safe, but maybe played it too safe down pit side. We'll have to wait and see what he can do and if he can gain any extra time here, as now we do see Melvin Brengerer down pit road. Here comes Brian Underwood also down pit side. Both of those playoff drivers make it down pit road cleanly, no big issues. They're able to keep on rolling here in this one, so they make a good stop here this evening. Obviously still cannot get caught speeding, cannot have that mistake. But for Jonathan Gaston, Danny White, they're still having to come down pit road, man, and obviously now a lot of the strategy comes into the big question here on how far can you go, how far do you want to go, because you may be giving up a lot of time right now. You got the older tires, you're running quite a bit slower than the drivers with fresh tires, so how much do you want to give up right now out there on the racetrack? And for a lot of these guys, man, you give it up half a second a lap. That is a lot of time. Half a second out here on the Speedway over a 15-second lap time. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot. You give up, you know, 10 seconds, 12 seconds. You're almost putting yourself a lap down, so you got to be very, very cautious on how much you're giving away late in this race. As you do see Danny White rolling there in second. You see Sean Merriman down to his inside, trying to race his way back up here, trying to put himself to at least only one lap down in case the caution flag comes out. But for Sean Merriman, unfortunately, did get that black flag. I do believe he is about 5 laps down right now, even still 2 or 3 laps down compared to some of our other drivers that were battling there for the race lead. When you look at Wesley Burke, when you look at Brandon Holder, they're now basically sitting first and second here with the top three still having to come down pit road, with Gaston, Danny White, and Jordan Crider all still having to make their final pit stops of the day. Now they could get really, really lucky here. A timely caution flag could really help them out and really help solidify themselves into this championship battle, and I think really that's what the 72 ride and the 79 are hoping for. If they could catch a caution flag right here, that could definitely swing everything into their favor, with drivers being right now 2 laps down out there on the racetrack. It could really put them into a good position here late in this race. So for Jonathan Gaston, he's just continuing to click these laps off. Danny White's right there with them. And this is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting to see how this all plays out. Wesley Burke trying to race his way from 2 laps down to only 1 lap down out there on the Speedway, as he's trying to reel into our race leader here, Jonathan Gaston. But right now the gap between Wesley Burke and Brandon Holder is about 3 seconds here. So a great pit stop there for Wesley Burke, and Burke comes out of the pits with what could be that race lead. And for the 07 ride, he may be on his way into victory lane here this evening. Brandon Holder may have gave away that, that gap that he had, the lead that he had, and unfortunately may have gave away this race win, which could be detrimental here to him. Even if he comes home in second, will it be enough to still leapfrog the few drivers in front of him to try and win this championship? That's the big question mark. Will it be enough for Brandon Holder here this evening? Will we see potentially Jonathan Gaston or Danny White potentially make it far enough that they get the advantage, they get an opportunity to win this race and lock their way into the championship? As we do see Danny White finally working his way down pit side. So White finally has to come down pit road. He makes that hard left-hand turn. He'll make his pit stop now here this evening. Gaston still yet to come down pit road, as you see the 07 of Wesley Burke get around him right there. So Wesley now puts himself to 1 lap down out there on the racetrack. So 1 lap down for the 07 right now. But still, there's only 1 driver on the lead lap right now, and that is Jonathan Gaston. A big caution flag right here would be absolutely insane for that 72 ride. We'll have to wait and see how this all gets played out, as Wesley Burke now up technically into second. Danny White still down pit road trying to get his pit stop done here as he falls down the list here. He's now into 6th, now 7th. He'll continue to fall down a little bit, but as he comes back out onto the racetrack, he will have some of the freshest tires that he'll be able to use to his advantage. But you do see the 72 and the 07 right there both just get around him, and for Danny White, that will actually put him a lap down out on the racetrack. Wesley Burke will now have him a lap down. So won't Brandon Holder, as you do see Holder starting to reel in this 07 ride by quite a bit. It was a 3-second gap. It is now about 1.5 seconds. So Brandon Holder is really starting to reel in this 07 ride of Wesley Burke for what could be the race win here this evening. Brian Underwood about 3 seconds back. He's in that 4th position with Jordan Crider in 5th. He still has to make a pit stop. So doesn't Gaston. But Ben Gleason, Danny White, Chris Getz, Melvin Brenger back in 9th. White Youngblood there in 10th. But for Jonathan Gaston, man, what do? Do you just keep on rolling? Keep on hoping that you catch a caution flag and run this thing until the car is almost out of fuel? What's the game plan here if you're that 72 ride? Is you can't make it the whole 100 laps, but my gosh, he is going to try. As now you see the 31 ride. That's Brandon Holder able to get around him here. And if you wait too long, if you're the 72, that's the big question there. It's if you wait too long and you run out of fuel, or you just, wear the tires out so much that you give up so much time to the other drivers, or you still end up having to make a green flag pit stop, it could really put you behind the ball here quite a bit. We already saw how that played out for that 79 run at Danny White. Danny White technically, I do believe, is either on the same lap or is still a lap down. I believe he is a lap down here to Wesley Burke, but actually he's been able to work his way back around Wesley. So for the 79, he is back on the lead lap. So that's good news there for Danny White. But for the 79 ride, Still basically a full track back behind what could be our race leaders once Gaston comes down pit road. If Gaston's going to come down pit road. There's only 22 more laps left into this race. We're going to take a quick break, a quick Peacemaker Gaming crank it up. We'll be right back here for the final 15 laps of this feature event. Alrighty, a beautiful crank it up session here as we saw a great battle there as the 6th rider Brian Underwood comes from left field and puts himself into the top spot. So Underwood now has the race lead as we watch that 31 rider Brandon Holder battling with that 07 rider Wesley Burke for the top spot out there on the racetrack, as we did see Jonathan Gaston having to make his way down pit road. For the 31 and the 07, they're battling for the race lead. Brian Underwood comes out of nowhere, jumps up and around him, and takes the race lead away. So now Underwood here, inside 15 laps left to go, has the race lead and looking to run away with this one. Holder there in second. Obviously, one of our playoff drivers looking to try to race his way into that championship battle. Melvin Branger right here to his inside. Melvin is not on the lead lap. He is a lap down right now. Scored back in the 8th position. And for one of our playoff competitors, this could be a very, very difficult spot to be in. Same with Jonathan Gaston. Gaston finds himself, he's still in the lead lap. He's got some of the freshest tires out there on the racetrack. He scored back, though, in that 6th position. And unfortunately, he finds himself about 6.5 seconds behind our race leaders. I don't know if he's going to have enough time. There's only 10 laps left to go to try to reel them in. Unfortunately, I think he's going to give up. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get there and make passes and steal this win away, but for Gaston, that's going to be his game plan to try to win this race or hope for a caution flag to reel him in a little bit quicker. For Brandon Holder, he's just kind of riding along right now, hoping that he's got enough points after winning Stage 1 and winning Stage 2. Does he have enough to lock his way into the championship? As unfortunately, then we see Ben Gleason and the 07 of Wesley Burke. They're 3rd and 4th. Gaston now into that 5th position here in this one. So Gaston's able to work his way around Danny White. Danny White now falls back to 6th. And unfortunately for the 79 ride, not the spot that I think he really wanted to be in here this evening, as I don't know if that's enough that of a gap here between himself and Holder or Gaston to really keep him back there at bay and to work his way into that championship 4. But we're about to find out here as the laps are counting down in a quick hurry. As out in front, it's Brian Underwood who continues to lead the way and continues to pull away from everybody else. But here comes Ben Gleason, man. Gleason has been flying here the last few laps. He's worked his way around Brandon Holder. Now we take a look at the 72. Gaston's right there. He's got the speed. Gaston's around the 31. He's up and into 3rd, but with only 4 laps left to go, unfortunately, the gap is still about 1.7 seconds. Can he close the gap? Can he race his way up to the 6th right here? He does have 3 cars in between himself and the race leader as well, one being that 5 ride of Crider as there's contact. Oh, Crider's up into the outside fence. Danny White's back down pit road. Crider's up and into the wall here. No caution flag. We keep it clean and green, but there's damage down to the 72 ride, and that may have checked him up enough that it allows Brian Underwood to maybe pull away with it, but here comes Gleason as well. Gleason's right there. Melvin Brangruer down to the inside. They're 2 wide at the front of the field here as Brangruer trying to put himself back on the lead lap. Here comes that 72 of Gaston. He's there. He makes contact again with the 66. Around goes the 66. Gleason's up into the outside fence. The white flag was displayed. There's no caution flag. We keep it clean and green. As out in front, Brian Underwood with the race lead. Is it enough? Can he keep the 72 back at bay? Gaston gives it all he's got, but can't get there as Brian Underwood picks up the win here in our penultimate race of the season. Brian Underwood able to get it done, puts himself up and into victory lane. Gaston obviously giving it everything he had there at the end, trying to work his way up to the front, had a lot better tires and was zooming through the field there. Unfortunately, ended up collecting a few other drivers. Ended up getting into Josh Crider, which took Crider up into the outside fence. Got a piece of that 66 right up Ben Gleason as well, which was almost a late race caution flag, in which case Ben Gleason, he would have loved to have seen that yellow flag. He was there trying to steal the win away from Underwood as well, but unfortunately, just trying to work his way through there, ran out of time, ran out of room, and the 72, unfortunately, got into him as well. So for Gaston, obviously making a little bit of a calamity there late in the race, using everything he's got, knowing that he virtually had to win this race to lock his way into the championship 4. Does come home 1 spot shy as Brian Underwood able to win this race. He automatically punches his ticket no matter what the points were. For the 6th ride, he is locked in. Our back-to-back champion will get ready to battle here for the 3-peat here. His 3rd championship title in a row here for Brian Underwood will be a possibility in 2 weeks' time. Man, what a crazy run, what a crazy finish here for all these drivers, as that was a bit of chaos, a bit of mayhem here late in this race. And now we'll get ready to pull in our race winner and the rest of our top 3 here for their post-race interviews. I'm sure drivers who are going to be very interested trying to figure out their points and where they need to get the points from and how they're going to play out, how they're going to shape out. I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. Brangruer ended up coming home in 6th. So I have a sneaky suspicion our top 4 in the point standings moving on to our championship race at Chicagoland Speedway is going to be, we know it's automatically going to be Brian Underwood and Josh Crider, but I feel like Brandon Holder did enough to get himself in there into the battle here for that championship, and I feel Melvin Brangruer also did enough here with Danny White coming home 11th. I do believe Danny should have, unfortunately, lost too many points there. Didn't really earn any stage points or any major stage points for the 79 ride. I think for Danny White, he may have been the driver to go from inside the cut line to outside the cut line here this evening, and I believe that Jonathan Gaston more than likely will be just a little bit shy of advancing here as well. So it could be really close there, but I feel that's probably the way it is. It could be really tight on the point standings between Brangruer and Jonathan Gaston. We'll have to wait and see the final points and everything else, but it's unofficial. We do know that Underwood and Josh Crider are locked in. The other 2 championship driver still unsettled here, as we'll get Brian Underwood up here into the booth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner.
Bristol.
Hey, Brian, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yes, sir. Gotcha.
Brian, man, what a run, what a race here tonight, man. Obviously, not locked into that championship battle here in 2 weeks' time, so you came in with a decent points lead between yourself and that cut line, but obviously not feeling confident, obviously not locked in, so you just had to go out there and do what you do. Be consistent, run your race. You're able to kind of squeeze in there, earn a few stage points throughout this race, and then there at the end, kind of just, again, hanging out, battling there inside the top 4, top 3 there for that final run, until all of a sudden, as we started to watch Brandon Holder and Wesley Burke duke it out there for the race lead, you all of a sudden pop up into the picture, blow right on around the both of them, and run away with this one. But it didn't come without a little bit of late race fireworks, as in your rearview mirror, the 66 of Ben Gleason, the 72 of Gaston are tracking you down in a quick hurry, just hoping that you can hang on and get to that checkered flag before they can get to your back bumper. And luckily enough, Gaston and Gleason get tied together, and kind of slows the 72 up enough that he can't quite get there to you on the final lap, as you're able to hold on and hold him off and put yourself up here into victory lane and lock your way right on into that championship, man. Take us back through this one, and what's kind of going through your mind here after a crazy night here at the last Great Coliseum?
Yeah, it felt good going into the race. I had 16 points, which obviously isn't safe by any means, especially when you got 20 bonus points you can get through stages, and then also, somebody wins below the cut, which obviously Holder and Gaston and Danny were all fast there. We went in the race, same strategy I've went all the last half of the season, just don't practice till the race time. I practice during the practice session. That's about it. And just kind of go from there. And just more focus on the consistency. And felt like the long run, I didn't have anything. I didn't feel really confident in a win at all. I felt like I was maybe 4th or 5th all night. The old dogs between Danny Gaston and Burke and Holder there were definitely the cream of the crop there when it came to speed on long run, and speed really all night long. So I went with a different strategy, 2 tires, and stayed out a little bit longer, play that game, see how it went. And when I seen I was able to kind of reel in Holder and all them, I felt good. And then, like you said, the fireworks at the end there, I didn't even see Gaston till the last lap there, and he was flying. And then Gleason was flying, so luckily I had Melvin. We were battling there, which I felt bad, because early in the race, I don't know if it was Netcode that got us together or not, but probably took him out. But with us going side by side there, it just didn't really leave opportunity to make a move. So I was just in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that lap down car, the 19 rider Brand Brewer, kind of puts you into, a difficult position, because you weren't running, the fastest line, or potentially trying to run away from those guys. But I think in turn it kind of helped you out, because it held up that 66 enough that the 72 of Gaston got in there, I think, a little quicker than he was expecting to. And obviously with the 66 of Gleason trying to make a move, they make contact. It checks him up enough, and obviously takes the 66 right up into the outside fence, and allows you to kind of run away with this one, as he was still there. He was still trying to make a move there in those final couple corners. Unfortunately, just could not quite get there, or try to work his way to the outside of you here late in this race. But for Gaston, man, still a great run and great strategy there for him. Obviously, a lot of you guys, including yourself, kind of ran right to that 154 marker, kind of splitting that final stage in half and coming down pit side midway through that final section of the race. 72 kind of played a whole different game. He didn't come down pit road until lap 183, having virtually almost 30 lap better tires than yourself, and just zoom in there at the end. I think caused a little bit of mayhem. We saw him get into Crider. We saw him get into, obviously, the 66 ride there. But, man, definitely a bold strategy for him. And from what Jimmy Six Times has said in the comments section, is that that was enough for him to earn the final championship 4 position here this evening. So for Gaston, man, he didn't even need to steal the win away from you, but obviously felt like he needed to, and he was there trying to do everything he could to get up into second.
Yeah, I mean, hell of a night by him. I know he had to probably ruffle some feathers to get there. But I mean, he only, looking at standings now, he only beat Melvin by 4 points, and he got 2 positions on the last lap. So, I mean, it's really close. And I mean, it could have went either way. Melvin had an opportunity to pass. I think was it Gleason? Oh no, though. So actually, he was pretty much locked in on that last lap. But nevertheless, I mean, he did what he needed to do, and yeah, it was a great race. I bet on the league this week on not having a caution because I was to do what Gaston did there, and that burnt me last week in Michigan, and didn't get an opportunity at the win. So I guess it just kind of repaid myself this week with that. But with that being said, the final 4 is going to be myself, Crider, Gaston, and Holder.
Yeah, absolutely. An amazing Final Four. Obviously, yourself looking for the three-peat for 3 championships in a row here on the season. Our Season 2 champion, one of a longtime members here with Jonathan Gaston, and one of the newcomers here with Brandon Holder, man, and definitely going to make for some exciting racing, some exciting action there. And Chicagoland in a couple weeks' time, man. How do you feel going into Chicagoland and your competition there to try and win another championship here, Brian? Is obviously, you've been the best to do it. You're the only 2-time champion here in the series. Do you size these guys up the same as what you did maybe last season when you had, Applegate and Jordan Hand and some of the, and yeah, Wood as well, so you got those 3 compared to these 3. Do you feel it's going to be tougher, easier? What's going through your mind heading into Chicagoland?
I mean, thing I've learned over the years on iRacing is any given race. Uh, I mean, if you're in the final 4, you've made you've made your way there. You got speed and you just got to execute on the final race. Um, with this car, just so much can happen. It brings people together, so it's I feel like Holder's really good. He's fast every week. Gaston, he shows speed every week. Josh obviously shows up when he needs to. And I try to do the same. Thankfully for myself, like I don't have like some talk of like pressure and all that shit. I don't honestly give a shit. I'm out there for fun. Um, and I kind of got a clear mind when I go into the playoffs, or in the final race, or even in the playoffs. It's like I always say, it's kind of sugar on the top. Um, it's always a benefit to win the championship, but in the end, if I don't win the championship, I'll still have 2, and I'll have a good amount of wins this season. We just move on to the next season.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, you say you don't care, but I feel like you do care. Obviously, everyone loves winning. Everyone loves being called the champion, man. And I know you want to change that paint scheme and put 3-time champion or the back-to-back-to-back champion on the back bumper, man. It's going to be a lot of fun to see. Obviously not a lot of pressure for you, but I know, your competitive drive. You're going to be giving it everything you've got. So isn't the other 3. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see how everything plays out at Chicagoland Speedway in 2 weeks' time for you guys in our championship race. Brian, here tonight, though, you pick up a big win. Obviously, not only enough points, but also winning the race, locking your way into the championship battle here for the 3rd season in a row for yourself here tonight, man. A hell of a run, a hell of a show, and a great battle there for yourself. You'll put yourself up here into victory lane, getting that extra little bit of momentum and that extra little bit of an extra drive going in to our championship race in 2 weeks' time. Brian, who would you like to thank here tonight for such a great drive and great performance out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give a shout out to you, obviously, putting on the broadcast every week, and the admin team, Ben doing what he does, and Josh, and we put a lot of work in, the season, and It's really paying off. I got to thank all the drivers show up every week. It's amazing what the green flag rate has went to finish the season. I think we only had one caution there. So I mean that's we're gonna be really close to the goal at 90% for the season. So I mean without the drivers providing the car count, the drivers providing the green flag rate, that's two big factors in running a successful league. Um, so I mean a lot goes to the drivers that show up, everybody that watches the races. We appreciate it, and all the sponsors and uh, yeah, and my teammates.
Idiom. Well, Brian, heck of a run, heck of a drive here this evening, brother. We can't wait to see you back out there in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully, you enjoy the rest of your weekend, enjoy the rest of your night, and obviously have yourself a very wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. And we'll see you back here for our championship battle at Chicagoland in 2 weeks' time.
Yes, sir. 6-7.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for Brian Underwood, our race winner here this evening in one of our Championship 4. Moving on to that championship battle in 2 weeks' time as we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, the driver that just squeezed his way in, that 72 of Jonathan Gaston. Let's get Gaston up here into the booth. Hey, Jonathan, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Jonathan, man, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here this evening, man. Take us kind of back through this one. Obviously, having to serve a penalty after qualifying in that second position. You got to take an EOL to start this race. So you go to the back of the longest line, and you start back there, and virtually what seemed to be about row number 10, row number 11 there as a single file for a few spots back there, and you start at the rear of the field. Quickly, though, you work your way up here, you battle your way up inside the top 5, you end up with some pretty good stage points there in stage 1, same with stage 2, and then here at the end, obviously a lot of different gameplay, a lot of different strategies. Everyone kind of came down pit road, virtually splitting that final run. You stay a lot longer here, make your way down pit road on lap 183, giving you 17 laps to hunt down Underwood, Gleason, Holder, all these guys to try and work yourself either into victory lane or potentially just try to get enough points. And luckily enough there at the end, you're able to gain a few extra points, an extra couple positions as you were absolutely flying around the racetrack, and you almost win this race. You got to settle in for second, though, and luckily enough, it was enough here this evening that you're able to snag that 4th and final playoff ticket here to transfer through into the championship race at Chicagoland, man. Take us back through this one and what's going through your mind right now after a crazy, crazy night here for you.
Oh, it's definitely a crazy night. I practiced earlier in the week, and I did a long run, and then I did a two-stop strategy, or two tire strategy. And man, I knew if that scenario came up, I was going to have them. I mean, I don't want to sound cocky or arrogant, but it was clear I was the fastest car on the track the whole race. I mean, I start in the back, I come to the front, then I get a speeding penalty, which I'm still not sure how that happened, and I come to the front again, and then I stay out, and I'm on old tires. I'm still faster than half the field. I take 2 tires, and I'm a second faster than. I mean, I was hitting lap times comparable to at the start of the race with 2 tires. And I know Josh and Ben, they're pissed at me, but I mean, I watched the replay on both of them. It looked like I was committed to the bottom, and it looked like both of them came down on me. So I told Danny and them, my teammates, I'm like, they want to penalize me. But they saw me coming. They knew I was fast. Guys were holding me up the whole night. I try to race clean, but you just, people are blocking you, and it's frustrating. They're blocking Danny, and they always talk about race manipulation, and it was definitely happening. And I hate to sound like it, and I hate to sound negative, but at that point in the race, you got to do what you got to do. I know they're going to cuss me. I know they're going to be mad at me, but 2 laps to go. You don't let off the gas, especially when you're a second faster than everybody. And if they wouldn't have held me up there, I would have had Brian. But it is what it is. I'll take a second place. Next week, we'll race for the championship, and we'll make a decision after that what we're going to do after moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. A crazy race, a crazy finish there. Obviously, contact between you and the five of Josh Crider, and then you throw in Gleason there as well. Two drivers that were running pretty solidly, but obviously, virtually 30, 40 lap older tires than yourself. You got that speed, you got that momentum, and you throw Dale Earnhardt into the same situation, he'd be driving right through him as well, working his way to the front of the field, knowing that his opportunity to win either the race alone or trying to punch his ticket into the championship battle, he's going to do it, man, and that's what Bristol does. That's what Bristol brings the opportunity to, being a short track and being under the lights here on a Saturday night, man. That's what we love to see, man. A little rubbing and racing out there on the Speedway, and a little bit of bump and runs there. Obviously, you're trying to work your way up there, and unfortunately, sometimes, they just get in your way, and you're able to get through them, and luckily enough, not cause too much damage for yourself or hindered your ability to keep on going or to continue to keep up that speed, as you're right there still at the end. Obviously, if there was another couple laps, even another lap, I think you would have had Underwood, but, it was definitely a hell of a valiant effort to try to win this one, man. Obviously enough, though, to steal that fourth and final playoff ticket. That's going to feel pretty good knowing that you get to battle for that championship.
Oh, it sure does. I did this paint scheme. I consider myself the dark horse. People voted me out. Josh always puts in polls up about who's going to be, who's not going to make the next round. Of course, everybody voted for me. You know what? They can kiss my ass because I made it.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Jonathan, heck of a run, heck of a drive for you here in this one, man. Who would you like to thank for a great drive and great performance here in the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway?
Well, like I always, thank my wife. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do this. Thank the sacrifice that she does for me. Thank my teammates, Danny and Farrell. I wish they could both be in the playoffs. I know Danny, for some reason, iRacing glitched on him, and they didn't put any fuel in his car, or he'd probably be right up here with me. He might even have beat me in the points. But Bourbon Hills Barbecue, Hall Drilling, Tom's Tire, Precision Design, and of course Gaston's iRacing Graphics. And I'd like to give a shout out to you. You do a great job week in and week out, and really appreciate what you do and how you do it. And I think you do an excellent job. And hey, quote Dale Earnhardt Jr., it's Bristol, baby.
It is Bristol, baby. Jonathan, congrats on the second place run, man. Obviously, we're off next Saturday for the Thanksgiving weekend. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time here for our championship battle at Chicagoland Speedway, man. We can't wait to see you in action and see you duking it out here to try to win the Season 6 championship.
Yes, sir. We'll give it everything we have.
Absolutely, brother. Enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy your weekend off before that race.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Jonathan Gaston. As Gaston comes home here in position number 2, we'll get ready now to pull in our third place finisher, Brandon Holder. Hey, Brandon, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
I got you.
Brandon, man, hell of a run, hell of a drive here this evening after a bit of a rough outing last week at Michigan. Obviously, you came into that race with a little bit of a points buffer. You leave Michigan below that cut line, so you knew tonight you just needed to get as many points as possible, maybe win this race to lock your way in, and you gave it a hell of a shot and a hell of a run here in this one, man. Obviously, a missile right out of the get-go. You jump up, you take that race lead, you lead virtually the first, I want to say 110, 120 laps or better of this race, as you're able to take that race lead and just pull away from everybody there in stage 1, win that stage. Same scenario in stage 2, again, just pulling away, winning that stage, and you earn yourself some very valuable stage points, which brings you pretty much, right into the mix for those, couple last playoff positions here going into that championship battle. And obviously throughout this final run, it looked like it was going to work out for you. It looked like, it was going to play out as you came down pit road. We saw Wesley Burke able to get in front of you. You were trying to track him down. And then late in this race, as you're battling there with Wesley, all of a sudden, Brian Underwood just pops up to the outside, makes his move around both of you guys, and then just kind of ran away with it, obviously, with Gaston and Gleason up there as well. But, man, it was a hell of a show and a hell of a run here for you tonight, man. Take us back through what's kind of going through your mind.
Well, going back to Michigan and Watkins Glen prior to that, I kind of just stepped on it, to be honest with you. Had some bad runs, but tonight, I messed up and didn't take two tires. Basically, that's people just it shocked me because like I was pulling everybody, it seemed like, and then all of a sudden these guys are blowing by me, and they did it on two tires. So I just made the wrong pit call.
Yeah, do you chalk that one up as potentially just less practice, that you didn't really learn that or see that, or is it just something that they may have found that normally you wouldn't try to test or try to work on throughout the week leading up to the race?
Well, that's 100% what it is. I didn't practice any at all, and that's what you get for not practicing. So, um, we'll do better at Chicagoland and hopefully not have the same result.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, with Chicagoland, you got to beat the two cars in front of you here tonight, knowing that your competitors for that championship are going to be Brian Underwood, who's won the last two championships. You add in our Season 2 champion with Josh Crider, who won last week at Michigan, and then obviously Gaston there as well to battle and compete with you here for the Season 6 championship, man. How do you feel going into Chicagoland, knowing that those are going to be the three other drivers you got to beat to win that championship?
Well, I will say that Chicagoland is one of my favorite tracks on the sim, so hopefully, hopefully that works out for us. That's one of the most fun tracks there is on the whole sim.
Well, that's definitely going to be sad to hear for the other three competitors, but I know everyone over the next 2 weeks is going to be absolutely working their butts off, getting a lot of practice in, trying to make sure that they are at the top of their game here for that championship race in 2 weeks' time. As we're off next Saturday for the Thanksgiving weekend, we'll be back in 2 weeks with that championship race. But here tonight, man, hell of a run, hell of a drive. You're able to leapfrog Bren Brewer, you're able to leapfrog Danny White, and work yourself into the championship battle here this season. Brandon, who would you like to thank for such a great run and great performance to get yourself that ticket into the show?
Well, I got to thank my teammate Dustin Slider that we usually practice every week and get more prepared for the race. He wasn't able to make it tonight, and we didn't get to practice. So I want to thank him. I want to thank the guys that put on the league, Brian and Crider, and then I want to thank you for the broadcast. It's outstanding.
Absolutely, brother. Well, heck of a run, heck of a drive, Brandon. Enjoy your rest of your weekend. Enjoy your weekend off next Saturday, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time, man. Maybe right back up here, not only into victory lane, but potentially winning that championship in Chicagoland.
All right, man. We're going to give it our best, and just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Hope they have a good time with their family and enjoy a little bit of time off.
Beauty, brother. Well, enjoy your time as well, and we'll see you back here in the next one.
All right, see you, man.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there to our third place finisher, Brandon Holder, as Holder comes home in position number 3. Unfortunately, that will do it for us here tonight in this one, man. A quick one. We talked about that early on, man. They blow through these laps in a quick hurry, and without, bunch of caution flags there. I thought we were going to see a couple there late in this one. The contact there with Gaston and Crider, the contact with Gaston and the 66 of Gleason, but as they made contact there and Gleason did go around, Underwood took the white flag, so no caution flag came out. So that was a bit of a crazy end there. Tough break for Ben Gleason. Looked like he maybe had an opportunity to win this race as well, but man, that was a lot of fun, a great show, an amazing show with a lot of good green flag laps in it, green flag pit stops, a whole 9 yards, man. It was awesome to watch, and these guys put on an absolutely amazing show for us, man. We can't wait to see these guys back in action, duking it out, and going to war for that championship in a week's time. But ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we can't thank you guys enough for tuning in and showing the love here throughout this racing. The likes, the comments, the shares. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we'll see you guys back in here tomorrow afternoon. We'll be back here into the booth at just around 4 o'clock Eastern time for the Outcast Racing League and some more absolutely amazing racing action here on Peacemaker Gaming. But listen, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in, and we'll catch y'all back here in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Engine the night ignites. Rubber burns under neon lights. Chrome shining, stars align. Dreams hit the track, now it's grind time. Wrapped tight, tailpipes glow. Pit stop precision, gotta keep that flow. Crowds a jungle, hearts in the choke. Lap by lap, adrenaline spoke. Speed kings, chasing that checkered crown. Under the moon, we don't slow down. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels. Heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds. Grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal. Victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms. The checkered flag, it seals the room. Saturday nights, we ride, we fly. Premium league, we touch the sky. Pedal to metal, no brakes in sight. Racing forever in the glowing night. V8 screaming, thunder on wheels. Heat from the asphalt, raw and real. Tracks a snake, it twists and winds. Grip the wheel, leave fear behind. Spotlights dance, tires squeal. Victory's close, you can almost feel. Pulse is wild, the finish looms. The checkered flag, it seals the room.